All right, welcome to another episode of the BAM Media Sports Show. You got your co-host here, BJ, and I'm gonna let my boy introduce himself.
You got Coach Maniac Malcolm Bugs. Glad to have another episode of BAM Media. Uh, of course, you will be able to check out the hashtags in the description, of course, about our acronym meaning. But blessed to be here again to talk some good ball. Also, elaborate on the life scenarios that we can relate to the game of football as well. Our first topic, and obviously we have more shows to go. Thank you for all the fans that have been waiting in, also chiming in and giving their suggestions, and also I would say admiration for our newfound sports pod. But go ahead, BJ. Let's talk about our first topic. We'll try to hit on a number of three, at least three topics in about 30 to 40 minutes. That's our goal. So let's do it.
All right, so first we got here. First we're gonna talk about the state of Alabama football. Gotta go back to that Tennessee L we took. Gotta talk about the South Carolina win. We kind of snuck out, and we can kind of highlight a little bit of highlights from that Missouri win that we got last week. It's a bye week here. Got a strong week going into next week. Got to prepare good. This upcoming week and get ready for the Tigers down in Death Valley. Second topic, I think, what I know we're gonna hit on as well is the parity of college football, the parity back in the sport again. A lot of these teams are recruiting equally now. NIL, the transfer portal has allowed for a lot of these teams to be on an equal playing field when it comes to schematics and talent. So we're gonna let Coach Bugs hit on that topic a little bit, and then last but not least, we're gonna hit on a few of our Heisman watch list candidates. Maybe one or two guys, but we're gonna talk about the guy that we think is the dark horse or the front runner right now. So, Bugs, what you think, man? What you think about the Tide, man, right now?
Starting out with Bama, obviously. Um, they are at a standpoint right now to where they should not and cannot lose any more games in the regular season in order for them to make the playoff. Uh, they are, I would say, getting better every week since the last two games, and I would say the last two games would be their wins against South Carolina and Missouri. Uh, but I think that they have a strong chance to finish it out 10-2 regular season play and earn a spot in the playoff. Obviously, that does depend on how other teams play out as far as other teams that are ranked in front of them, and also teams behind them that play higher ranked opponents going down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
We really are in the last quarter of the season because if you look at it, if you win, every college team normally plays a number of 12 games. So when you look at it and divide it up into quarters, you talk about the first three games, the second three games, the third three games, and the last three games. And ultimately, that determines your season because most smart head coaches plan that bye week in a good enough time to where they have 2 and 3 weeks before in between their bye week so they can actually, recover and also develop during that time as well without having to play an opponent live. And I think Bama has taken a great I think they have or will take great advantage of them just based on some of the interviews that I've watched this week as far as them practicing for bye week.
Mm-hmm.
I think their outlook going forward is, like I said, 10-2. I do think they are getting better as a team, but I also definitely see the deficiencies when you talk about where they may lack on defense and where they may lack on offensively.
Yeah.
And hopefully they continue to get better and, work on those areas. But I will say I've seen more improvement defensively than I have offensively. And I'm talking from a whole standpoint because the passing and running game is two different things. Just like defending a run and defending the pass is two different things. but they have to be able to balance out and come together in order to create that efficient attack, whether you're talking about an offensive system or a defensive scheme. So
let me I like where you went with that. Let me throw you something, throw you a bone real quick. So I talked to my brother recently, and he told me maybe this is something you should mention on your show. You know what I'm saying? I said, let me see what MB think about this. So J Mill done had 3 coordinators. Pretty much that he done been under since he's been at the University of Alabama. He hadn't played up under all 3, but he has been a part of 3 systems. They have always said, or we have always said as fans, it's the coordinators, it's the coaches.
correct.
Now we have brought in somebody who technically could be a quarterback whisperer, a quarterback guru. We've seen what he did with the likes of Michael Penix for the years that he had him. Got him to go first round. We saw the arm talent, the accuracy, the ball placement. We saw all of those things. And now we're to a point where Jalen Milroe has been with these guys, him and Nick Sheridan, Coach DeBoer and Nick Sheridan for 7, 8 months now, 9, 10 months now. And we still haven't seen quite the development that we have wanted to see as far as progression goes with his techniques, his fundamentals, and still his ability to be able to read through his progressions consistently and deliver the ball on time and on target. Now, I get that he might not be that quarterback, but I think it's time now for the fans to truly stop putting it on the Bill O'Briens, the Tommy Reeses, and the Nick Sheridans and the DeBoers. At some point, we got to start looking at Milroe. And I love Milroe as a person, as a leader, as a coach, one of the hardest working guys I've seen. He's going to be the first person into the building, the first person to leave out of the building. I mean, the last person to leave out of the building every single day. But at some point, we have to start seeing some translation from what he is doing in that film room to what he is putting in work with his guys. We got to see it on the field. And I just wanted to put that out there before I kind of talk about the last few games, but just want to put it out there for the people to start to really think about from a fan perspective or just an outlier perspective. Really, really look into maybe it's not always the coordinators. And we can point that to both sides of the ball if you really want to tell the truth. A lot of the times coordinators are the first to blame. Players still got to go out here and execute. That's the name of the game, execution. Coaches can't go out here and play for you. They give you a scheme schematically, but you got to go out here and execute. We have seen, these last 3 weeks, the defense has progressed and gotten better since that Georgia second half collapse. The Vanderbilt, game, I feel like, that game, we don't want to call it a wash, but it was a game we just played on our heels the whole time. South Carolina, we played decent for not 60 minutes, but 48 minutes. And we're able to pull out the dub. The Tennessee game was a disappointment. I can't lie to you. I didn't even finish watching the game. My blood pressure be going up. So, I'd be having to save myself. But in a sense, last week, the defense, they took a great step forward against Missouri. I still quite haven't seen the consistency of J Mill passing the ball. I still saw him miss a lot of plays last week. He's throwing the back shoulders inside. He's not throwing them outside how he's supposed to. He's throws the wide receiver screens. The receiver got to hit a 360 just to catch the freaking ball, which is slowing them 2 seconds of the play. So that play is not going to develop the way it's supposed to develop. Still not throwing the ball with the crossing routes going across the middle accurately and efficiently. He's still an athlete, so that's the scary part of him. He still has, he still has time to just make plays because of his pure ability. But I do truly think we're gonna have to see him. We're going as far as Jalen Milroe will take us. I think I might have been saying this at the beginning of the season. We're gonna go as far as Fo take us. He either gonna take us to the ship or we're gonna finish the season early. Defense has got to keep putting their foot forward. Keep stacking up the weeks, keep stacking up the days in practice, keep getting better. Coach Womack, he'll figure it out. I feel like he can figure it out. He can figure out what players work better in certain positions. That's just gonna all come with time. So not really, harping and really beating down the coordinators. I truly think both coordinators have done a decent job in recovery since that Vanderbilt loss. I just think now it's up to that boy Jay Mill to be more efficient, and the team got to play. They got to play together. Offense and defense has to play a complete game. They play a complete game. I think Bama can compete with a lot of teams, but if one side come to play and the other side take that weekend off, Bama won't be the team to make it to the playoffs, or at least do anything in the playoffs this year. But after, with that said, you got anything else to kind of
I like your stance on Jalen Milroe. I think he's a great athlete, great leader. I think he checks all the boxes as far as being what you want in a quarterback, except just having a consistent passing efficiency rating. Is just my point of view on it. Just because what they ask him to do is fit for his skill set. He is a better vertical thrower of the football than he is a intermediate and short game, quick game thrower.
Yeah.
Even if you think about some of the quick game, most of it is built in with, RPO commonalities of college football that most offenses are using anyway in order just to keep defenses on their heels, but also keep them honest when it comes to defending the box and making sure that they can still create advantages when it comes to the number game, because that's all it is anyway. When you talk about being a coordinator offensively or defensively, just making sure that you can outnumber and also put your athletes in position to make plays with their strengths. And honestly, I think DeBoer is definitely one of the best, when we talk about college football wise, and Sheridan being a coach for him for maybe, I think the last, I want to say 3 to 4 years. I think he was with him in Indiana as well, because I remember when they got the job, he talked about how him and Womack worked together before, and I was thinking that might be in Indiana. Yeah. But with all that being said, it boils down back to the same thing that you were saying. Players just still have to be able to make plays, and also it's that fine line of balance of the coordinators putting them in positions to make plays. And like you said, kudos to both sides, because I think one thing that I've observed, and obviously I'm going to brag on my guy, but one thing that I've observed is since the second half of the Georgia game, I do think defensively, schematically, Womack has found his rotation as far as how guys are going to play, where they're going to play, where they're going to be most efficient. And I think he's also found that balance between showing the 3 and 4 man look initially on the defensive line. I think the Vandy game definitely, humbled. And I wouldn't say humbled him, but it definitely gave him a different perspective when it comes to defending a rushing attack in the SEC every week. And obviously, every team has their own kinks, nicks, and the uniqueness when it comes to how they want to attack you, running the ball or passing the football. And that's what makes the game so great anyway, because you have the best athletes coming together in the same pool when it comes to the conference. But having the coaches with the I would say having the coaches with the gut and also the craftiness to continue to want to evolve and actually find their system and ways that they can make their system unique to their guys. And also, we talk about this stuff trickles down into recruiting, it trickles down into retaining players nowadays, because not only do you have to recruit high school guys, JUCO guys, you also have to recruit your own team on a daily basis because of the NIL and the transfer portal. And that leads us into our next topic, because I'm watching that clock. So, one last talk about it, Bama. What's your prediction? Because I said 10-2 with an opportunity to still get into the playoffs. That's how I feel like they'll finish.
So you want to know my prediction? My heart want to win out 10-2. I'm gonna say 9-3.
Okay.
I'm gonna say we're going to Baton Rouge and take an L next week. Close, hard fought game. I'm gonna say we take the L next week.
Okay.
But definitely, playoff committee, they never slide with Bama. So I feel like, we do lose 3 games. It's a close game, LSU in Death Valley. I still truly feel like it's gonna be some other teams that's gonna lose along the way.
Yeah.
And the 9-3 Bama might still be sitting up there at that 12, 11, 10 seed at the end of the year, because LSU is next week. So if we lose next week, that's 4 more weeks of football still.
Mm-hmm.
If we just win out after next week, even if we did lose, I truly think they still might have a chance to slip in there. But that's my take on Bama's rest of the season. I think they'll finish out like that.
And that leads us into our next topic, which is the parity in college football. And the reason I want to talk about this because I saw a statement about Paul Feinbaum. And I wouldn't say a statement. He did a whole take on it because everybody knows Paul Feinbaum has his own show.
Yeah.
Great writer, long-time writer for the SEC. And the reason I'm going to give him his props is because the experience. All right. Do I agree with all of his takes? No. Absolutely. Not at all. But that's exactly what makes this a great space, because everybody has an opinion and everybody has an ability to sway you towards thinking the way that they think with the I would say accuracy of their perspective. Yeah. And my perspective when it comes to the parity in college football is this is what Nick, and I'm saying this because he made the statement. Everybody knows the statement about him talking about his wife and how they were talking about one of his last recruiting hostings and how most of the parents were talking about money. All right, and this is exactly why I say the playing field is now this when it comes to college football and obviously the SEC, because Bama came out and had a great first half and did what they could do to hold on to beat Georgia, because Georgia came back second half and showed you what type of team they have, what type of fight they have, and also the caliber of players that they have. I mean, they recruit at a top 3 level, and I say top 3 because I can't remember how they finished this past year. But like I said, they're always going to recruit top 1, 2, or 3 every year, and they're going to be able to develop those guys based on the personnel that they have on their staff. Mm-hmm. And not only can you say that about them, but you can also say that about other teams all the way across the country. Because if you think about it, and I'm biased because I love Saban. I love Saban's whole imprint on the game of college football, just because of the grace he did it with, the business like mentality he did it with, but also the disciplinarian that he was for a multitude of people. Yep. And Georgia has that. Right now, currently, Dan Lanning is has the number 1 team in the country at work. Sarkisian was ranked number 1 for multiple weeks this year at Texas. You see other programs continue to thrive, like obviously Ohio State. Penn State just took their first loss today. Like, these programs have resources and have money, so that means that they're going to be able to be sustainable and be competitive every year. And honestly, I think this is where my boy Nick was kind of iffy about continuing the grind of this, because of how imperative it is for a head coach to always have time in order to feed his program what it needs in order to remain, I would say, competing at a high level, but also to remain a contender when it comes to winning the championship every year. Before NIL, before the quick transfer portal, because you could always transfer as a graduate, but that required you to graduate within 3 to 4 years, in which most programs at that time, or degree programs at the time, required you to do at least 3.5, so that would have you on campus for 4 years regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you talk about how I would say structured it was without it,
Yeah.
I think it was easier to maintain recruiting classes, to actually have a life outside of football, because honestly, as a head coach, you can't. You really can't, because of the demand, especially at big programs,
Oh,
the
definitely.
demand that it takes to maintain the recruiting class,
Mm-hmm.
maintain your players inside your locker room, because you have to recruit them too because of the transfer portal,
Yeah.
and make sure everyone's happy because of the dollar amount that's placed on the game now.
Definitely.
It's a continuous strain when it comes to having that position.
Yeah.
So, Nick, you're right. I want to be. I know plenty of people have probably been telling you this, but if you ever see this podcast, Grant say, Nick, you're right. All right, we want to say that. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. You're definitely right. If I had any changes to make when it came to NIL and the transfer portal, and I'm a fan of NIL. I'm a former Division I football player. If you didn't watch the first episode, I played 5 years at the University of South Alabama. I was captain my last 2 years there. And I had a shot to play professionally when you talk about the CFL, XFL, and all that. But God found my foot into coaching, and I've been doing that ever since. So when it comes to the NIL, I'm all for it, because I do know the demand that it takes to go to class, to go to workouts, to go to meetings, to go to study hall, to go to practice,
Yeah.
to travel when it comes to the games, getting back late, having to leave out early, maybe missing certain classes, maybe missing certain assignments just
Mm-hmm.
due
Mm-hmm.
to your schedule. So I understand the value in having money in college football, because those guys deserve the money. They definitely do.
For sure.
But a salary cap, would be something that I would say should be in place, just to create the even line of competitiveness.
Mm.
And when you think about it, when it comes to recruiting and NIL and transfer portal on top of each other, that hurts the mid-major programs, because I can give you an example. And I want y'all guys to ball. I want y'all guys to transfer up and create a better opportunity for yourself, as far as getting at a bigger college or getting on a bigger stage, so you can go
Yeah.
to the NFL.
Yeah.
But it's so much easier now for mid-major guys to go in there, have a ball, go crazy, and get out of there in 1 or 2 years. So what is that doing to your mid-major coaches that are trying to recruit programs, maintain programs, develop kids, and also develop a culture?
I ain't thinking about
So that's one point of view that I think Nick was coming from as well when it comes to this, because now I don't think you'll see back to back standing years when it comes to these mid-major programs winning championships in their conference, winning more than 10 games, or
Yeah.
making those big upsets in college football, defeating Power 4 schools and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the retaining level for them is definitely going to fluctuate even more,
Yeah.
because their players are going to make plays too when they play their money games against Power 4 schools.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
players are also going to take advantage of the opportunity, playing at a level, a mid-major level, and capitalizing and developing likeness and developing a name for themselves, so they can put that name in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And some kids are only transferring just because they know that their name is out there, so they can go get some more money.
Man.
So
What?
like that's those are type of things that I would say a salary cap for NIL, and obviously a rule put in place saying that you would have to stay at least 2 years, or like just a rule being put in place about not transferring year after year after year after year.
Yeah.
I think that's not only fair to the coaching staff and the people that are on the support staff that help get you there, but it's also fair to the student to figure out, like, hey, I made a decision, I got to stick with it. And
Yeah.
also, it gets back to helping develop some type of morality and character when it comes to just dropping something and going to the next. It teaches somewhat level quitters mentality that, you know, some people may look at it that way, and some also transfer for other reasons. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be a rule and put in place just to help maintain the chaos that I think NIL and transfer portal has somewhat created.
Oh, and it's gonna be a lot more where that come from.
Correct.
See that.
Because the money is, and obviously money talk. And if you look in the Bible, the root of all evil, greed it was another quote that I got from a movie that sticks with me still to this day. Greed will imprison us all. All right. So those programs that no money is going to help sustain them, they're gonna do nothing. They're not gonna do anything but continue to find ways to get more money, get more resources, getting more facilities, getting more support staff in order to support these guys in their academic career, so they can have a tutor per position group or a tutor per like player. Like some people really like some colleges, and I can say 5 to 10 schools off the top of my head can do that. They can literally develop enough money, resources, and support staff so they can have that type of thing going on.
Easy.
So being able to stipulate that, I think just, kind of levels out the chaos that I think is created between the NIL transfer portal. Now, am I a fan of the parity? Because that was the whole topic in the first place before we go to the next topic. Yes, I am a fan of the parity. I am a fan of the parity because I like the fact that we can sit up here and talk about Paul Feinbaum making a statement saying the SEC is weaker. Well, honestly, I just think the parity in college football is just stronger due to those two reasons that I just mentioned. And I also think the parity is good for ratings.
Definitely.
I think the parity is good for attendance when it comes to the ticket booth at all these institutions, as far as hosting home games, which creates more money, right? And I also think it's good for the excitement that is created around the game, because now when we talk about ratings and excitement, they're both intertwined to entertainment. Now we're talking about another pool of money that can be tapped into for everyone. So when we talk about the parity, I'm a big fan of it. I love it. I love the fact that we're talking about the fact that, do I say I love the fact that Bama has 2 losses? Nah, I don't love that. But I will say I love the fact that Texas has a loss. Georgia has already taken a loss. Ohio State took a 1-point loss in which they probably should have won. Shoot. And I can keep going on as far as teams that have one loss, but Clemson. But when you talk about these teams, they're still in the mix. They're also still great programs that we talk about that have, competed at the national level as far as trying to win a championship every year.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of the parity. I'm definitely a fan of the parity. And do I say the SEC is weaker? No, I totally disagree with you, Pine Feinbaum, on that. I disagree with you totally. I think that the parity is there and it's all the way around because people continue. And I think he made that statement trying to say that the Big Ten is the better conference. Well, yes, they added all these different schools that aren't even in range. At least Oklahoma and Texas are like literally next to, the land and the playing states of the Southeastern Conference. But that to me does not make their conference better. Honestly, I would say right now they're probably neck and neck, just because the fact that the SEC is beating up on each other. You don't have an undefeated team still in the SEC, and I think that's just a testimony to the parity, but also the gauntlet that the SEC has always presented with their brand, especially for the last 15 to 20 years. Since I've definitely been a heavy follower of. So. But that's my stance on that. All right, going to where we at, topic 3?
Yeah, topic 3. That's your Heisman. That's your Heisman choice. Who you
All
got?
Right, so first, before I let you talk on this one, I want to say something about Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter making their statements about their cases for the Heisman. All right, because obviously, the only reason I'm saying that is because I think those are the two Heisman favorites. I think they obviously are.
I got somebody.
I know you're gonna say Cam Ward or Shador, and I want to hear your stance on that. But with these two guys making their statement, I don't. Me personally, I don't think you have to. And it's just me. It's just me. I don't think you have to talk for your work.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you have to talk or to I don't think you have to overemphasize or overbrand yourself when it comes to the amount of work that you put in or the stats, the results of your performance that are being shown on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, Travis said something first, and obviously, of course, he's gonna say something because think about it. He's being mentored daily by somebody who has always said something. Somebody who has always set the tone as far as being outspoken. Somebody who's always set the tone as far as being elite at what they do when it comes to playing the game of football, but also being elite as a brand in themselves as far as whatever they like to do outside of just playing football. So with him saying that, I do agree with Travis Hunt as far as we have not seen anybody that has consistently on a week-to-week basis take the demand of having to play I would say majority of the snaps on both sides of the football. Charles Woodson did it a little bit. Dez Howard did it a little bit. Of course, Dion did it a little bit, but we've never seen anyone take more than 60 snaps on this side of the ball and more than 50 snaps on this side of the ball. So when it comes to Travis voicing his opinion, saying we've never seen anyone do that before, he's correct. We have not seen anyone take on the workload that it requires to be a Division I corner in a Power 4 conference and a Division I receiver in a Power 4 conference. So he is definitely correct on that. To me, I think and I'm biased. I played DB. I think that right there is probably going to get him the Heisman. That in itself, being able to compile a certain amount of stats on both sides of the football and special team whenever they put them at punt return or kick return. So being able to impact the game in all three phases and then being put in different spots. Because we ain't just talking about him being the punt returner or the kick returner. Shoot, they might send him down as gunner on punt, and if it's a dead situation at the end of a game, he might be on kickoff as a safety guy if it's a dead situation at the end of the game, just to make sure that nobody breaks loose. So it's like his impact is it overshadows the competition. It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Now in defense of Genty, he said that he was aware of the statement that Mr. Hunter made, and he felt like nobody has done what he's done in like 36, 37 years. And honestly, he is coming from a standpoint of talking about the amount of yards he's been able to get, the amount of touchdowns that he's been able to put up, and capitalizing on yards per carry, yards after contact. If you look in even into the in-depth detail of those stats, he's elite. He's elite in those categories as well. Yeah. So with him defending himself, I think he definitely made a humble statement in saying that. But I also feel like they're both making their case.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Travis is number one. I don't even think, and I said that I think the running back may be number two. But I'm gonna retract that statement. I'm gonna give number two right now, probably Cam Ward, just because of his efficiency playing the quarterback position, his impact on leading that program, Miami, bringing back that culture, helping bring back that culture and restore culture at a university of the prestige of just like Miami, and doing it in just 1 year. Like he ain't even been there a whole year. He transferred spring and they're rolling like like that, especially offensively.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
those are my two Heisman front runners, Travis Hunter and Cam Ward. Go ahead on your stand, sir.
Okay. I mean, I'm a Travis Hunter fan. I love his game. I got one of my close friends, Sean. Sean, big Colorado Buffs guy. He lives, sleep, breathe Colorado football, and you talk about Travis Hunter all day, every day. And for me, I agree. We have never seen another player, do what he has done. He is a unicorn. He is a player that's in a category of his own, kind of a GOAT status. My thing is, it's a durability factor for me.
Yeah.
Not only durability, I think since Travis plays all of these snaps, is the snaps what's going to make him the Heisman because he's just playing a lot of snaps on both sides of the ball, and we've never seen that done? Or are you giving him the Heisman because statistically, at either corner or receiver, he is the top in the country? That's my question. Because if you put him at receiver, is he the number one receiver in the universe? That's my question. I don't know. He has the potential to be easily, but day in, and week out, has he looked like the number one receiver in college football? All right, go to cornerback at CB. If he just playing CB, is he the top cornerback in college football? If he is, kudos. But if he's not, we got to start. We really got to start putting
Reevaluating that.
exactly, because we can't just give a guy a Heisman because he's playing a ton of snaps. Maybe he's just in shape better than everybody. He don't get tired. You know what I'm saying? And he is the best player on their team. So they're going to utilize him any way possible that they can. So they need him, like you said, on punt return, kick return, kickoff, punt. He's going to be there because that's what they need. And Deion trusts him more than anybody outside of Shador. So I truly think Travis honestly should win the Heisman, based off of if, you know, the sports or people who vote on the Heisman, typically vote just because of snaps. Now, granted, he's a unicorn. He can get 100 yards every week if he really wants to with the quarterback he got. He could easily at receiver. I will say that. So I'm not saying he can't. He can go out there and be shut down because I don't think he can. But my thing is him playing that 135, 145 snaps a week. He hadn't played a full season yet in college football. I mean, this year he missed one game, two games, one game, half a game, something like that. So previous years, 2 games, 3 games a season. So the higher he goes, that's gonna change. That's gonna start trickling down. So he want to go into the NFL and do that as well, which is great. It never been done, but I mean, I just don't think it will translate fully. Like I don't see 135 snaps being played in the NFL game. Like not with his body frame and body type. His skill set, yes. But his body type, and he does more training than any collegiate athlete possible. He's a professional when it comes to training and recovery and making sure his body is right each week. But I'm gonna give Travis my number one nod as of right now, but it's a close one nod. 1A, 1B for me, and it's going to Ashton Genty at number 2. Bama fan, of course. Derrick Henry, one of my favorite backs at Bama. Genty is shattering his records in a season, from a season. Henry was the last back to hit 2K, if I ain't mistaken. I could be wrong, but he was the last one to hit 2K and win the Heisman. I'll say that. So for Genty to shatter 2K, that's a big feat. People talking about this Barry Sanders 2600, bro. Let's just be excited for what we're watching, because we ain't seen nobody do what this kid doing. Like he said, 36, 37 years. Like Travis is a unicorn. What would you call this dude? An alien? A monster? I mean, he doing in a lesser conference. I get what people want to come to for that, but that ain't his fault. That ain't his problem. That people can't tackle him. So I think it's gonna be a fun race. Cam Ward is up there as well. 1A, 1B, 1C, if you will. I just think Miami has too many close games. But I will say this: the Heisman what they call it, a Heisman house. They like to see winners. It's about winning. Various occasions you see a guy win a Heisman with 3-4 losses. Various. Those are your Johnny Manziels, your RG3s, you guys like that. That's rare. So if Travis is gonna win, they can't lose no more games. Because Boise State ain't lost yet. Boise State probably not gonna lose but one game going into the playoffs. If they get in that playoffs, that's Ashton Genty's Heisman to win. And so, I just truly feel like it's going to be a fun race. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be about the wins and losses. I feel like Cam Ward is probably the dark horse right now because if he can will his team to being undefeated going into ACC Championship week, possibly playing Clemson and beat Clemson, I think that's his Heisman Trophy. If Colorado don't play in a Big 12 championship game, I mean, I'm like the other people. I want to see winning. I don't want to just see you be a great player on an average team or a decent team or a good team. I want to see it translate to helping your team get dubs. So I think that's what it's about. So same thing for Boise State. Genty you got to keep doing it, dog. The team's gonna start to load the box on you, but just like they did for D. Henry, the last 3-4 games of his Heisman season, he was averaging 170 yards, 180 yards. So, Genty, November is your time. If you really want to win the Heisman, you got to win this back stretch in November. Same for you, Travis. You can't lose no more games. And Shedeur Sanders might be up there, but he'll never win because of Travis. So it's kind of like Mac Jones or Devontae Smith that year. I mean, your receiver going to catch more of the glorious ratings because of his position. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback is getting the glory because he got the receiver. But that's pretty much my take on my Heisman candidates. I got Travis 1, I got Genty 2nd, and I got a Cam Ward coming in at a close 3rd. But to wrap up the episode, guys, we appreciate y'all, chiming in with us again for another glorious episode. And
you got any last thoughts? Last thoughts to 4:45 minutes.
No, I don't have any more thoughts.
I got a last thought.
Okay.
Last thought. I just want to express my gratitude for our fan base, but also let you all know that we will be expounding our topics. All right, we will actually go into more topics in depth about other sports and also life scenarios because obviously we are 2 Black young men in the U.S. of A, and we have I would say diverse platform with me being a educator, mentor, and a coach, and also BJ working in the business world and having multiple titles as well. So we will be expanding our topics. I know for a fact we're gonna talk about some basketball on here. You see what I'm wearing? You see what I'm wearing?
He was in the background. Hey,
you see what I'm wearing?
Background, that 2, 4, and that 8. Yeah.
You see what I'm wearing? So we'll be expounding our topics. We will talk some professional and college basketball. We will elaborate on other fields as far as NFL here soon, and also carry out into some character and morale things as well with us. Growing and developing as men of God, but also men, relatable men, Black young men in this world. So we appreciate y'all right here on BAM Media Sports Podcast. We thank y'all for tuning in, and we hope to continue to bring you this great content, man.
Peace.